Hey guys, it's Ping, and we have a project bike today that's super fun, super cool. Belongs to our editor at large and also a very large editor, Jeff Beaver, who helps us with a lot of our track stuff. His motorcycle, we built it up with his help, and he's letting us test it out today. So it's a 22, what we're calling a WTM EXC-500. And if you're in the dual sport world, this has kind of been the go-to, the gold standard. And some of that's changing. There's some competition coming in, but we wanted to try to make this the best version of what we like to do, which is mostly dirt, but we want to be able to ride to the trails, ride to a track, ride to wherever legally, and then be able to hop into the dirt and do our thing. So we asked some of our good friends at different companies that really make awesome off-road products, and we built what we think is a pretty serious weapon. So we got it on the track today. We got it on some enduro cross stuff. We put it into some trails, and we ripped it down the road out here to get here. So we kind of did everything that we expected of it, and man, what a blast. So let's start with some of the stuff we did to this thing. First of all, Cycra Pro Bend handguards, which if you are gonna be doing off-roading, man, these are important to have. You can get just the plastic ones, but if you start hitting solid trees or things like that, it's just gonna push those into your hands and your levers and cause problems. This has the metal wraparound, so you can bash into stuff pretty good, and it doesn't affect you at all. Taco Moto Co., the Tidy Tail. This all-in-one rear brake and blinker is so clean, so trick, works super well. Taco Moto Co. fork wrap blinkers. Taking off the stock blinkers is a must, and this is just such a clean way to replace those. Full of Chirby's plastic kit and front disc guard. Talon over to Chirby's, always taking care of us. They just make the best fitting, most high quality plastic replacement, so I love that. And then the graphics came from SKDA. We've obviously partnered with these guys in a lot of things we do. They are just on a completely different level in terms of graphic design. Flow lowered foot pegs. If you guys need replacement pegs or you're just looking for something better than stock, these are the aluminum ones. They also make a really high-end titanium one that's bitchin'. But this is nice because you can get different heights if you want them. This is a little bit lowered because Jeff's such a big boy. We've got a Seat Concepts comfort seat. Man, I preach these guys' name all the time. Great replacement seat if you just want something different, but if you're looking for more comfort, particularly in a dual sport or off-road machine, this comfort collection is another level. It's like a lazy boy chair mounted to your bike. Baja Designs XL80 headlight. This thing is like the sun mounted to your front fender. I love it. Moto-minded 3D printed headlight mount. That thing is super legit as well. Really clean the way that thing fits in there. Bulletproof Designs radiator guards, rear disc and caliper guard, axle adjusters, chain guide guard, rear brake tip, and oil filler cap. Great stuff from the Bulletproof Designs guys. Again, just really solid stuff. TM Designs poly skid plate. This is a dub edge wheel set, and beautiful. Just such a good job. The W guys crush it. FMF Tie 4.1 full system. Pro Circuit did the suspension on this, and they they had to go in and find some custom springs for Jeff, but all the valving, all that stuff is dialed. They got the rear shock lock rings are all metal instead of plastic, which is a Pro Circuit touch that they do. Very nice. And then a big part of this build, the Twisted Development Vortex ECU, which is standard. You can buy those, right? And Jamie mapped it. But what they do is they add this little fob that comes off the moto bike, which gives you two different map settings. So we've got an aggressive and a soft. And then we've got traction control and quick shift. Now, traction control, obviously, if you're in off-road stuff that's slimy, slippery, or you're on and off the pavement, that's a really cool feature. And then the quick shift for road riding is so nice. As soon as you touch the shifter, it kills the ignition for a split second, allows it to shift. This is a game changer. We use this for supermoto all the time, so I'm quite familiar with it, but just incredible addition. These are for sale right now over at Twisted Development, so get a hold of Jamie over there and get one of these if you've got a bike like this. Taco Moto Smog Delete Kit. It's critical. Like I said, they're adding more and more smog stuff on these bikes. And this is a good way to get rid of it. It's got a vapor canister delete dongle for the ECU. Intake tracked reed cage removed. And it's an 85SX reed cage that goes in. So anyway, works well. Stock internals on the engine. We do have a Nihilo secondary on switch mounted inside of here. You can't see it, but those are huge. So big thank you to Jamie at Twisted Development for the maps and the little switch over here. So we've got all these additional things. The PC guys did a quick turnaround on our suspension for us, so we appreciate that. And also thanks to Three Brothers Racing in Costa Mesa. Those guys helped out with just some random stuff. They've been awesome. So we really appreciate those guys. All right, so how did this thing work today? Let's get into just a basic breakdown of it. First of all, super comfortable. A lot of that has to do with the seat concept seat. It's got the standard ODI grips, which are awesome. I don't recommend changing them. Keep them as long as you can and replace them with the same ones. They're great. So that's all really good. The power of this thing, once you get rid of all the smog baloney that California makes you have, the FMF system, like all the things we did, Jamie mapping it, this thing barks. It feels like not too far off a motocross bike. It's very loud. So if you're riding somewhere where you need to be quiet, you probably need to go with a version that has a little more muffle than this. This thing's pretty throaty, but fun to ride from a moto guy's perspective. I'm not going to judge the suspension. It was very stiff, but it's set up for a guy who weighs 100 pounds or more than me. So I could ride 2 up on this thing with somebody my size and it would probably be perfect. There's a couple of little things I didn't like, and this is just design flaws, but this whole housing here for the brake and the horn, or the horn, the blinker, and the lights, gets in the way of the clutch adjuster, so it has to be pulled way in. So I mean, I'm holding onto the clutch way on the outside by the ball. It's just a terrible design. I suppose you could flip-flop them, but then they're going to be way inside on the bar. It's just bad design, but it is what it is. Other than that, like I said, very comfortable. The flow foot pegs for me, I probably don't like the lowered ones. Again, Jeff's much taller, he's gonna love them, but a great platform. And these little, the brake tip that's a little bit wider, and even the shift toe that's a little bit bigger. Super important on these bikes. I don't know if anyone else has ever had this, but on these Austrian bikes, they're very tucked in and very small, and I miss them. I've missed the rear brake pedal on these multiple times, and it's scary if you really need that brake. So I like having that bigger platform where I know I'm going to catch it. That's kind of the comfort side of things. In terms of, like I said, I'm not going to get into handling and chassis really. It worked fine, but it's obviously set up too stiff for me. So the little bumps and stuff, it's too stiff for me. But really fun engine. I love it in first gear. You can just chug with this thing. Whether we were just doing little slow climbs up rocks or whatever, I can just billy goat with it. Real easy in first gear. But when you get on the road, I mean, you can do 80, 85, no problem. I did toggle between the 2 maps. There's definitely a difference. I like the aggressive map, but I could definitely see where there would be a use for that smoother map. And then the quick shifting, I mean, it's awesome. For this application, it's awesome. I wouldn't use it in the dirt because if you just tap your shifter, it shifts. But for the road, coming off of lights or stop signs, it's so nice to you just leave the throttle in one position and burr, 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 catch gears, totally smooth, very nice. And then the traction control, a good feature for off-road, for anything really. I just leave that thing on. I really liked it. So that's that. The tires worked great out here on the trails and things we're doing. It's got this bigger, obviously the big tank, so plenty of fuel. We did use some ETS fuel in it. Probably overkill, but we use the extra blaze. It's just a replacement for standard pump fuel that doesn't have all the additives. We've got so much garbage in our fuels out here in California. It plugs up injectors and carburetors, especially if you let it sit for any amount of time. Terrible for your internals. So that's a reason to buy a good fuel like ETS, just especially if you let the thing sit. I had a blast on this thing. The headlight is super bright. It almost blinds you staring into it, and we fired it up at night. And that's a really fun experience on a dual sport bike. If you've never done that, is go for a night ride. Even the simplest trail becomes really fun, but you do need to have a good light. And this Baja Designs light is like amazing, 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 super bright. So awesome products. Thank you so much to all the folks involved in this build. Thanks to Jeff for letting us have a spin on it, and hope you guys enjoyed it. We got a lot more off-road content coming. Stay tuned. We've got some really cool interviews with some off-road athletes, some product testing, and obviously more test bikes. So stay tuned. See you guys on the next one.